Good morning. Welcome to News Center Maine's Political Brew. Glad you could be with us. We're joined this morning by a couple of our friends, Ray Richardson from WLOB Radio and Ken Altshuler, the longtime morning show host on WGAN Radio. Gentlemen, good to see you.
Good to see you both.
Not much going on lately, but I think we'll manage to fill some time here. A couple of days ago, we had the last presidential debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Ray, your initial takeaways from that meeting?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy from my perspective. I will say this, the thing I was probably most pleased with is I didn't have much expectation for the debate moderator, and I thought she did a pretty decent job. Look, there was nothing new that came out of this. We talked about it last time the three of us were together. I think this election's decided. We just don't know the results yet. I was surprised a couple of times, though, at Joe Biden being so vehement about not saying certain things that he's actually said. For example, the predator comment. I've played that clip on air many times from November 18th, 1993, where he referred to black people as predators during the crime bill debate. And he was very forceful about those things, and they were just so provably untrue. But, you know, this is politics. You know how it works.
Ken, did anybody's minds get changed? What's your impression of how it went?
No, I agree with Ray completely. That's the question. Did it change anybody's minds? Most people who think that Trump did well are giddy about it because he did so much better than the first time. But so did Joe Biden. And so when you compare the two of them, did Trump really, it's interesting. If Donald Trump had been like that the first debate and had done the second debate like that, would we be looking at the same numbers? I'm not so sure. I think that Donald Trump did a good job. He was actually presidential until the end. But then at the end, Joe Biden started kind of losing his train of thought as well. I don't think it changed any minds. I think there was no knockout punch. I think the segment of the day for Joe Biden was when he talked about the children and the parents being separated. I think Donald Trump's answer was horrible, but I think Joe Biden's answer about the oil industry was horrible as well. But those were the only weak points. Nobody's vote was changed.
Let's look at the presidential race here in Maine. Vice President Mike Pence was in the state this past week, drew a good crowd in Herman. The Republican Party estimates it was about 1,500 people there or so on hand. It follows recent stops by Eric Trump, by Donald Trump Jr., and the president himself was here as recently as June. This is a heavy focus on CD2. Are you surprised that they're spending this much time here, Ken?
I'm not. You go for every vote you can. We did this a lot in 2016 when people were fighting for one electoral vote. If you believe you're behind, and I think Donald Trump believes he's behind, you go for every single vote. Would I devote a huge amount of resources to one? No. I'd go to Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Florida. Those are the important states. But I think that they want that one vote. I think psychologically it's important. So it doesn't surprise me that they're doing it, and they're doing it well.
And Ray, I know you have felt for some time that maybe the president could capture the entire state, but it certainly seems as though the second district is most important to them right now.
Yeah, I think you guys will be shocked at this. I play with the electoral map every day. I mean, I'm sure that just shocks the heck out of you. I think the president's ahead. The silent Trump voter that everybody talks about, I believe, does actually exist. However, if this race is really close, I've played with two electoral maps where one, CD2, gives it a 269 electoral outcome, and then the other is a 270-268. I think the president is going to win up there a lot bigger than anybody realizes. I've been up there a little bit lately. The enthusiasm is off the charts, but we'll see. But I'm not surprised a bit. There's a rumor the president may be coming next week himself, and that'll be a big boost for Dale Crafts and his chances in CD2 and maybe getting 3 out of 4 electoral votes in the state.
Let's talk about the quest to get another pandemic relief bill passed. Senate Democrats blocked a $500 billion package this week, saying it was inadequate, and they want to see a bigger package that Treasury Secretary Mnuchin and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi are trying to negotiate. And Mitch McConnell has reportedly advised the White House not to push for a coronavirus relief bill until after they've gotten Judge Barrett confirmed to the Supreme Court. Ray, is the Senate here doing what Americans really want?
Well, I think the Judge Amy Coney Barrett, we're seeing now, and again, I'm not big on polls, but I've seen a number of polls or surveys where the American people realize the qualifications of Amy Coney Barrett, and they're happy to see her confirmed to the court. But the Senate is able to walk and chew gum, and I think it's sort of an odd statement for McConnell to make that we need to get this confirmation done and then work on the stimulus. The Senate should be able to do all these things all at once, and I believe that's what the American people want. Initially, I was beginning to wonder if they'll get something done before the election, but who knows? The president signaled last night and the other night in the debate that, that he wants a bigger package, maybe even bigger than Pelosi's offering. I think this is a lot of wiggle room here so they can get something done.
Ken?
Yeah, there won't be an agreement before the election, and both sides have a reason for it. The Democrats have no political reason to have a stimulus package. It only helps the president. Mitch McConnell feels that the stimulus package will divide the Republicans. He believes that some Republicans, the bigger it is, the more expensive it is, you're going to have Republican senators who are going to say no, and they're not going to have the requisite 60 votes. I don't think it has anything to do with Amy Coney Barrett. I think she's going to be confirmed. I think people find her qualified. That's a done deal. That's only a verbal excuse to not do the stimulus package. Mitch McConnell thinks it's going to hurt the Republicans keep the Senate, and that's why he doesn't want to push.
We also had what turns out to be the last debate between all four of Maine's U.S. Senate candidates, Susan Collins, Sarah Gideon, Max Lynn, and Lisa Savage. Ken, I want to know what your take was on that gathering on last Thursday night.
It was a very interesting debate, frankly. It was virtual, which I thought actually hurt Susan Collins to a certain degree. I think Sarah Gideon looked younger, fresher. Susan Collins was on the attack, and that doesn't really fit her personality. At the same time, I'm a little surprised and disappointed, and I know it's the front runner philosophy to do no harm. Joe Biden did it. Sarah Gideon is not picking up the debate. She's not fighting back. So when Susan Collins says, I've been personally attacked in the ads, it would be very easy for Sarah to say, well, have you looked at some of your ads that you've approved about me? Because it's going both ways. So I really think that it was a toss-up. I thought Susan Collins was effective. I thought Sarah Gideon was good. It was obviously she was being attacked as a front runner, and I think that gave her some credibility, and that could have either been good or bad.
What's your take, Ray?
Yeah, again, I believe this election, as well as the presidency, has already been decided. We just don't know the outcome. Frankly, I thought the biggest news was Max Lynn acted normal, and which is something he's not really done in the debates in the past, or at least normal for him. This is I think really, frankly, the biggest thing that may come out of what's happening. I don't know if you caught the Breitbart story on Thursday. There's another story coming out in the Daily Beast about Sarah Gideon and protecting the House member who was accused of assaulting, and again, it was an accusation, accused of assaulting 3 high school girls. That story seems to be picking up a lot of steam in the last few days. If people haven't voted, if they truly are any undecided, that could be a game changer for Collins' favor and against Gideon.
Interesting bit of political news. A couple of days ago, Senator Angus King, who's an independent, is endorsing Democrat Jared Golden for re-election in House District 2. He has not endorsed in the Senate race this time, though 6 years ago he did endorse his friend and colleague, Republican Susan Collins. Ray, what do you make of this choice?
Yeah, I mean, look, Senator King, he's a gentleman. I've always said that. But the bottom line is he's a Democrat disguised in independent's clothing. I'm not surprised he endorsed Jared Golden. I have been a little surprised because of how he and Senator Collins worked together in the Senate that he hasn't come out for her. But it sort of seems like this is the thing Angus does. He tells us he's one thing and he really does another. I like Angus King. I do. I think most Maine people do. But, if Sarah Gideon is in the Senate with Angus King, frankly, Maine will have 2 backbenchers after having 2 titans, Olympia Snow and Susan Collins. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Well, Ken, you can't help but notice that Angus King does not care much for Mitch McConnell. Maybe that's his calculus here. He wants Mitch McConnell out of power.
I think it's a smart move on his part. Look, Sarah Gideon is not Shannon Bellows, and I think that him supporting Susan Collins 6 years ago made some sense. How can he go against Susan Collins when the possibility she'll win, and he's got to be in the Senate with her? And they are friendly with each other. On the other hand, if he supports Susan Collins and Sarah Gideon wins, there's going to be hell to pay, particularly when somebody who says he's caucusing with the Democrats and is certainly liberal-leaning for an independent. I think it was a smart move. It was a political move, and I understand why he did it.
Senator Troy Jackson, the president of the Maine Senate, has filed a bill targeting what we would call partisan news sites or fake news websites, as he calls them, calling for better disclosure laws. Some people have raised questions about whether that runs afoul of the First Amendment. Ray, what do you think?
Yeah, I actually got hold of his office. I'd like to have Senator Jackson on to talk about this. I absolutely think this is nonsense. It reminded me of the Alien Sedition Act from the late 1700s, right after the country was formed. As you may recall, a United States congressman was actually jailed over this idea that you can't speak out against the government. You've got to disclose everything. It just seems like political gamesmanship on his part. The Maine Beacon is a product of the Maine People's Alliance. Dr. Shaw often calls on them in the press conference. They're not a news organization. They're an advocacy organization masquerading as a news organization. I know this was targeted to the Maine Examiner, but you know, we have a right to free speech, and frankly, while I'm not a fan of it, we have a right to anonymity.
What do you think, Ken?
Well, first, kudos to my friend Ray Richardson for mentioning the Alien Sedition Act. We don't hear that too often on Political Brew. That being said, I agree with him. This is not, first of all, how do you define a fake news website? Who's going to define that? It's way beyond the First Amendment. It will absolutely not be enforceable. It will not be constitutional. I think he's taking a flyer. It feels good, makes no sense. I don't support it.
And finally, in our topic list, the Democratic and Republican candidates for governor of Utah made a national splash this week with a joint political ad. It's about political civility and how we should be able to disagree without demonizing one's opponents.
We can debate issues without degrading each other's character.
We can disagree without hating each other.
It's quite an impressive spot. Do you think, Ken, this is the kind of message that can have any resonance beyond the borders of the state of Utah?
You know, I have to be honest with you. When my wife saw it, she started crying. I mean, seriously. And she said, why can't all politics be like this? Will it motivate other people to do so? I hope so. It's the way life should be in the United States of America. Kudos to them. It's not going to happen in the Maine senatorial race. Negative ads work, or people wouldn't pay $100 million for them. But I thought it was a great touch. I hope more people pick up that kind of habit and do that in future campaigns.
What did you think of it, Ray?
Yeah, surely. I mean, we should all just be debating the issues and trying to define your opponent instead of defining yourself. I'd never liked that. But let's face it, politics has gotten so ugly in this country. We've been talking a lot on my show. Is there someone out there in the country currently from any realm, could be entertainment, could be faith, could be politics, who can unite this country? And frankly, I don't see it. I don't know of anyone out there who's like that. Good for them to try to do this, but I think it's basically a one and done scenario, unfortunately.
We'll wrap up now with our winners and losers in politics this week. Ken, you can go first.
I'm going with the winners, Spencer Cox and Chris Peterson, the two people running for governor in Utah. It sets a great example. It was a breath of fresh air in this very intense political season. They're my winners of the week. My losers of the week is Donald Trump. He did not have a knockout blow in the third debate. He didn't participate in the second debate. Both, I think, were critical mistakes. So I say he is the loser of the week.
And Ray Richardson.
Well, mine's going to be odd, but I think it's the people of this country with what happened with the Hunter Biden laptop story and the way big tech blacked it out and the way the national media has essentially blacked out this story. They've decided for us what's real and what is not. And I think the American people have lost on that. The winner of the week is, I don't have one, to be honest with you. There was so much noise going on. I don't know that there's a winner of the week.
All right. Well said. Gentlemen, thanks so much for being with us. Appreciate you being on Political Brew. We'll see you next time. News Center Maine is back after this.